This is the Aftermarket Radio Network.
Welcome everyone to yet another episode of Diagnosing the Aftermarket A to Z. I'm Matt Fanslow, and it's true what they say. Cops and women don't mix. It's like eating a spoonful of Drano. Sure, it'll clean you out, but it'll leave you hollow inside. That and more after a word from our sponsor, NAPA Autotech Training. So, are you looking for the right training provider that offers cutting-edge courses to hone your automotive skills? Well, let NAPA Autotech take you to the next level. Go to napaautotech.com for more details about classes near you. Well, since January 3rd or so, my second oldest daughter had to go into the field for training for the Army and needed family back in Minnesota, so us and then her mother to kind of care for her daughter, my granddaughter, who's 3. And yeah, cold winters in Minnesota don't allow for too much playing outside with a 3-year-old. It lasts a little while and then they, want to get inside because it's cold and the snow we have isn't the best for building anything right now. Maybe a couple sunny days, it'll get kind of sticky and then we could try the snowman thing, but a couple days here with the wind chill, at least we've been sub-zero. So where that's all going is entertaining a 3-year-old has involved dolls, games, and movies, believe it or not. So I kind of want to talk about some of the movies because I'm trying to pick up a little bit of what they're throwing down or accidentally throwing down, and I'm inferring a lot from them. But I'm going to start with one that isn't just a kid's movie. This discussion started with my brother and I around Christmas. We were watching some of the Christmas movies, Home Alone 2, stuff like that. And Elf was another one. 8-Bit Christmas, maybe one of my favorite Christmas movies ever. We're just talking about movies that transcend generations, meaning you pop it in and kids ages 3 to up to 80, 90 will sit and watch and be entertained and enjoy themselves. The Home Alones probably fall under that. 8-Bit Christmas probably does not, especially if you're older and never got into video games. You needed to be really a kid of the late 70s, early 80s to really get the most out of that. 90s is probably a little late. PlayStation kind of was out around there. But one that's not a Christmas movie that we brought up very quickly that I hope everyone is familiar with is The Sandlot. And yeah, absolutely not a Christmas movie, but certainly transcends generations. We watched it, pop it in, and the whole family is gathered around the TV watching The Sandlot, laughing at all the same spots, some different spots, but the big ones, everyone's laughing. I suppose the older viewers are sitting there smiling a lot more, just reminiscing. But yeah, great flick. And I guess I couldn't help but notice some stuff that I think translates to our shops. Really specifically, the one that comes to mind is the main character. He's the new kid, and he doesn't have any friends. Mom is trying to get him out involved and even says, go get in trouble. But really, Smalls is awkward and doesn't feel like a part of anything. He's in this new family dynamic with a stepdad who ends up being Dennis Leary, so that could be awesome, but isn't really connecting well at home and trying to make new friends, and his interests don't align with the neighborhood kids, right? He's much more introverted, but he does want to be a part of something. He wants to be part of a group. He finds that through the nearby Sandlot and playing baseball. I don't want to go through the whole plot of the movie, but this group, they need another person. They don't have enough people. They don't have enough warm bodies to accomplish their goals. And the leader of that group really kind of takes the initiative of, I want somebody out there. I need the warm body out there. and I'll try to make them look good enough to pass the litmus test set by the others, right? And Smalls will never be one of the better players on the team, right? He's just not. Benny ends up being a professional level talent. He goes to the major leagues. The others, Squints is too busy chasing, well, really not girls, just a lifeguard. And Wendy kind of putting on a display on how to end up in jail nowadays. But seriously, Smalls is kind of added to the team, if you will. Benny kind of makes him look acceptable. And over time, in the movie world, short time, he becomes an integral part of that group, that team. But he's not going to be the best player. And Kenny, with his heater, he ends up being a pretty decent player. I think he's going by memory, ends up playing college, but can't make the leap to the pros. But he's no slouch. And then rest, do whatever they're going to do. They're okay. But Smalls is an integral part of that group. He's an integral part of that team. Ends up capable enough to help them beat the local little league team. And also, not that this translates directly into shops, but it could, becomes a lifelong friend, right? Him and Benny end up, they're best friends. Smalls is a reporter covering the games, and Benny is playing the major leagues. But I guess where I'm going with that is we have people coming into our shops and they are awkward and they're different. They're not part of our team and they may be different. They may have different interests, but what could be shared, and I think what happened in the Sandlot is Smalls didn't join that team because he just loved baseball. He wanted to be a part of something. And because of the actions really of Benny, but then the rest as they all kind of gel, it's the love of the game. It's the love of playing the game and together and being a part of that team. That is what became so powerful. That is what helped Smalls become integral. That's what became productive, a valuable member of the team, as well as friendship. It just, I don't know, that screams to me that when we're bringing people into our shops, that if we have some exuberance, we have some passion about fixing cars or whatever part of the process, or just the general feeling of the business, love the business, if you will. We can talk like we're professional wrestlers and you love the business. Well, there's all aspects of that. It's not just what happens in the ring. Same thing with the shop. It's not all just fixing the car. There's so many other parts working together and just loving it and sharing that and bringing them in on that. And then if they can kind of capture some of that passion and exuberance and become part of that team, even if they're not going to be the strongest mechanic or technician or technical specialist or mechanical specialist in the shop, they can still be a productive contributor. They can still become integral. They can find their spot in the team and make it better. That's what screams to me watching that movie. Screams. And we all need to carry extra shoes just in case. And if the ball gets lost over the fence and there's a rather large dog or monster, go get another ball, even if it's signed by the Yanks. NAPA Autotech training sessions are being conducted day and night in a town near you. This training caters to every level within your organization, be it a mechanical assistant, a mechanical specialist, a technology specialist, or a driver safety calibration specialist. Imagine a one-stop shop training partner in NAPA Autotech that will lead your team to a path to greatness. Autotech's entry-level Build-A-Tech classes convert the untapped potential of your new hires into money-making mechanical specialists. Autotech's higher-level tech update classes introduce specialists to the world of ever-changing technologies, which prevents your shop from getting technologically stagnant. Remember, if you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. And, turning to the front of the store, the Autotech Service Advisor class is an awesome way to hone your client advocate skill set, ultimately benefiting the customer through an improved vehicle repair experience. But it doesn't stop there. Imagine an electric vehicle class that takes your specialist well past the mundane, yet necessary safety topics. Well, it's here. Autotech's EV Ready Training is a week-long curriculum that takes participants through a hands-on experience involving hybrids and electric vehicles. The session kicks off with the use of PPE and proper tooling while touching on required OSHA regulations. Then, the students dive into the lab vehicles to gain knowledge of the common high-voltage components on EV and hybrid vehicles and their function. Attendees will be taken on a path exposing them to different electric vehicle manufacturers to compare component form and location. Additionally, information about Level 1 and Level 2 charging systems will be included, along with a quick look at DC to DC charging. The operation and maintenance of subsystems are explored, including the different modes of Tesla operations, and so much more. So what are you waiting for? Commit to taking your business to the next level with NAPA Autotech training. Another movie we caught was Ratatouille. Again, not a Christmas movie and not necessarily a movie that's just transcends generations, but it's one I'm watching with my granddaughter, and there's kind of a theme, kind of a saying where at the beginning by the Gustav, the Michelin star chef, if you will, who ends up passing away, and one of his critics, but Gustav would like to say anyone can cook. And his harshest critic was staunchly against that idea. No, not anybody. Not everyone can cook. And we go through the whole process of the movie, which I think is worth watching. I'll skip to the end because I just don't think, going through the particulars is as important as the end, where this critic, now sampling a dish made specifically for him by the protagonist, the rat, who's kind of the head chef for a while. But to the critic, this meal takes him back to his childhood and very warm, fuzzy feelings while consuming it, but then also awakens him to what Chef Gustav was really talking about when anyone can cook didn't mean anyone, just anyone and everyone. It really meant that greatness can come from anywhere. And the next skillful, capable person could come from, left field. We could see that in our shops. This could happen where the next excellent technical specialist, the next excellent mechanical specialist, the next excellent service advisor could come from anywhere. That we need to keep our eyes open. That's really what the movie speaks to me about, is don't be afraid to look. Don't be afraid to expand out the parameters of who could end up being this person, that where they come from isn't necessarily as important as what is their drive, what is their interest level, what is their capability, what is their talent. And that's what that movie just screams to me. Again, a lot of couch time curled up in a blanket with the granddaughter. And just the last example, the last movie, at least for this episode, is Terrifier. I'm just kidding. I didn't watch Terrifier with her. I would not. Terrifier 2. Again, I'm just kidding. I'll work on those. I'm sure there'll be an episode in the future where we can talk about what we can learn from Terrifier. The movie's B movie. It's a great flick, and there's a couple ideas that I like about it. One is kind of early on in the movie, our main character and main characters are essentially graduating bees, ready to pick their job in the hive, producing honey for the rest of their lives. Kind of I think the tour guide, if you will, said something that I think just really resonates. And that's every small job, if done well, means a lot. We need to pay attention to that. In the shop, in any business, the little stuff done well adds up to big, big things. There are no small jobs. There are no meaningless jobs. They all contribute to the end goal of doing what we're saying we're going to do, which is, I suspect most of us, is to deliver a properly serviced, maintained, repaired vehicle for a price that we've quoted or estimated when we said we're going to do it. I think that's when it really comes down to brass tacks. That's what we're doing. And we're going to stand behind it. Everything contributes to that. How to bring in more vehicles or create more tickets, which could be more vehicles or vehicles visiting more often for legitimate work, expanding that client base as large as the shop could handle. And I don't know that what the real actual plausibility is of having only loyal customers coming back over and over and over. I'm sure there's a shop out there that has done exactly that, but I think most of us, you have your base that makes up whatever percentage of visits, and then the rest is new clients or returning after a dry spell, if you will. How do we expand that loyalty base as wide as we can get? Have them returning as often as reasonable. I leave that vague. Or recruit more new clients to hopefully add to that loyal customer base. So everything we do leads towards that. Yes, producing properly repaired vehicles, that's definitely involved. It's a big one. But so is keeping the waiting area clean, the outside presentable, attractive, if you will. Happy employees leads to better work, leads to more people bringing their cars to us. It all works together. In that, we have to empower them to be able to do these things. We have to equip them to do these things. So whatever that job is, no matter how mundane we may deem it, that's a horrible word for management to use, mundane. It's not a mundane job. It's very important. I need you to do it well, whatever that is. Picking up outside, cleaning outside. Does that involve, I don't know, a sweeper? How big is this area? How long do we want them to do it? The faster they can do it and the better they can do it, the better. So what does that involve? Are we buying a large vacuum, almost like a yard vac to do that? A sweeper, of course. If Minnesota, we have to clear snow, what are they going to do that with? Is it being hired done, and is it done promptly and well, or how does this get done? How does it get done quickly as possible, as efficiently as possible, and done extremely well? What is our contribution to that as management? And I think when we put priorities on that and we show that that's what we're after, is I'm trying to enable you to be able to do something very efficiently, but also very well. Yes, I could go get this thing and you'll do it faster, but it does a terrible job. That's not productive. That's not what we want. Then we'll do it a slower way, but it's better. The end result's better until something comes around that would allow us to do it much faster at the same level or better or acceptably worse, whatever that means. That is important. That is a message sent by management that even the quote unquote small jobs done well mean a lot. It means so much that we're willing to invest in the tools, if you will, to do that, to accomplish that. That resonates with me. And the other thing is towards the end, and throughout the movie, but we're seeing it evolve to it, is the main character, Barry, ends up doing a job that, at least at the beginning of the movie, he shouldn't have been able to do, right? A pollen jockey. They make them out to be like naval aviators, right? So Top Gun type. He shouldn't have been able to do that, but he does. And that kind of goes back to Ratatouille, that the skills, the talent, the capability can come from anywhere. And to recognize it, to try to keep your eyes open and recognize the interest and the passion, that's where it starts. It doesn't automatically mean you can. You can be very passionate about something and very interested in something and not able to do it well. It sucks. It sucks to be, there's a lot of things I really like, but I'm not going to be that good at it. I like poker. Not going to be that good at it. Not pro. Not even really, I don't think, super strong amateur. I like chess. My name will never be associated with master when it comes to chess. I like it. Like watching it. Like studying it. Like playing it. But my skills are limited, especially when put up against some of the best. That's just the cold reality. And that's the same thing in our businesses or auto repair. You could absolutely love what you're doing. You could love fixing cars, but you might not be able to do it professionally at a high level, but you might be able to. It starts with a passion and that interest. And can we feed that? And can we create or help create or grow what excellent tech, whatever that means? That's what really stands out to me in that movie. And so I guess the moral of the story is if you don't have grandkids yet, you got small children, or at least pay attention if you're watching a movie with them. If you don't and you're bored, pick up a kid's movie and just pay attention, because accidental or on purpose, there's some really good lessons there for us to pay attention to and bring back to the shop. And so that's all I'll end this. I will get cracking on the Terrifier series here for us. And then if you notice other lessons from these movies or from other movies, please shoot me an email. My address is mattfanslowpodcast@gmail.com. And I would like to take a minute to thank our sponsor, NAPA Autotech Training, for making this all possible, and the Aftermarket Radio Network for letting me do this. And thank you again, all of you, for listening. And until next time, take care.
You've been listening to Matt Fanslow, diagnosing the aftermarket A to Z on the Aftermarket Radio Network. Follow Matt on your favorite listening app. He's very interested in what you have to say. Let him know what you'd like him to cover and come on the show. Matt is all for advancing the aftermarket. Find Matt Fanslow on social media and connect or on aftermarketradionetwork.com.